Tucker Carlson has had his problems in the past. But as you just saw with what he said during that Glenn Greenwald interview, how he feels ashamed for defending the CIA, the NSA, and these organizations in the past. Ashamed. That's huge. And I'm ashamed for the low-level mentality that people that want to play team baseball and are anyone but Trump have had via this Biden laptop story. Now, if you tuned in yesterday, we played the story where Tucker Carlson had basically gotten supposed documentation on the Biden family, on Hunter Biden himself, and had seen it in LA. He was actually in LA with somebody else, and they decided to overnight a package, which later was revealed to just be a USB. Okay? So it was some kind of documents, but they wanted a hard copy on a USB to be mailed to their New York offices. Now, some people would say, and rightfully so, asking questions, did they make a copy of this, of the documents? Because we didn't know it was even a USB until yesterday. Okay, fair question. Tucker answered that yesterday, said of course they had made copies of it. All right, so secondly, why wasn't this thing, and then it was revealed as UPS, why wasn't this thing in New York the next day? Okay, how did they lose it? And why was it that only after this becoming a very public story, a very real story, because Tucker went public with it on the air, right? Why is it they found it the next day? And it gets weirder from there. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the people on the left that tried to say things like, oh, my dog ate my conspiracy theory. So the narrative that was being pushed is that Tucker Carlson, for some reason, would be lying about these documents and then setting himself up for failure and then going public with it. And I saw numerous people like laughing about it and joking. And I asked, first of all, has anybody looked at the actual contents that are publicly available from this laptop? They're pretty bad, right? They're pretty bad. And I mentioned the fact that, again, it seems that Hunter Biden was having an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old girl who happened to be his niece, Joe Biden's granddaughter. That's being reported. And I posted a very censored version of that pic, right? Posted a very, very censored version of the pic. And it was immediately pulled down by Facebook. Immediately pulled down. And I didn't get any notice for it. So then about an hour later, it comes out that UPS says they found the package. Now, the details get even sketchier, and we're going to let Tucker talk about those details on them finding the package, because they didn't find the package. They found the USB stick on a floor somewhere. What? So the package had been opened. The USB stick was on the floor. Like, when does that happen with UPS? I've had packages not make it. That's happened. It's very rare. But certainly I've never gotten a call from UPS later on. Oh, we found it, but we found it unpacked and on the ground. How would they even know it was his package and his documentation? For sure. You know, but again, when I presented this, because the dog ate my home, so I said, hey, looks like they found the package. So now I guess that UPS must have been in on the fake news story. Right? And after we play this clip of Tucker talking about the USB stick and the documents and how bizarre this whole thing is with UPS, I want to show everybody now how the mainstream media is going from full-on censorship about the Hunter Biden laptop and the information that's come off of it. Okay? But now they're presenting their own straw man argument to try to delegitimize any information that has been valid off these laptops that nobody covered. So they create a straw man, and then they point to that straw man. They say, that's where the conspiracy theory started, and it's all a lie. Conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory. Okay? That's the reality of that situation. So I want to play the Tuckster here talking about this very bizarre thing. And I know this is a Tucker Carlson heavy episode, but I think that both of these issues are pretty important, and Tucker's nailing it. He's nailing it.
Pretty weird experience we had this week. On Monday, one of our producers in New York overnighted a package to our executive producer, Justin Wells, and to me in Los Angeles. We were there preparing for an interview with a former Biden family business partner called Tony Bobolinsky. Somewhere along the way, the contents of that package disappeared. Inside it was a flash drive that contained primary documents pertaining to the Biden family. We should tell you those documents did not come from Tony Bobolinsky, and of course, we made a copy of those files before we sent them because we're careful. We get a lot of documents from a lot of different sources all the time, but that's especially true in election years. And before we put them on the air, we have to determine first whether they're real, these were real, whether they're newsworthy, and whether it's legal to show them.
So again, he's saying, look, we had these documents, they were real, but all those people, the Hunter Biden story's fake news, and here's Tucker tucking away with a fake story about how he lost documents he never had. Racist Tucker Carlson.
Wanted to assess what we had, and we're still assessing it. But the point is the package never arrived. Proprietary reporting on the Biden family, documents sent between journalists by supposedly secure overnight mail, disappeared. And they vanished on the same day we were conducting a heavily publicized interview based in part on documents from the Biden family. So as you can imagine, we wanted to know what happened. Unfortunately, we still don't know what happened. This morning, UPS issued a press release announcing they had found our flash drive and then boasting about their customer service. Quote, UPS will always focus first on our customers and will never stop working to solve issues.
I can't stand PR and corporate lingo. I don't know about you, but it is leaked so heavily into the society that not only do you get some kind of standardized bullshit response like the one above, as a press release, but you literally have somebody like Jack Dorsey spouting the same kind of PR lines that are accepted in the halls of our Senate and promoted by that mainstream mockingbird media we just discussed via Glenn Greenwald, The Intercept, and that Tucker Carlson interview.
Which is fine. UPS is a reliable company. They rarely lose anything. We agree with that. That's why we use them in the first place. And yet they lost our Biden documents. How? UPS won't tell us how. We spent a lot of the day talking to executives there. They claimed that the flash drive was found on Monday night by an hourly employee at the UPS building on 43rd Street in Manhattan. They suggested it might have been sitting on the floor there. They couldn't prove that because, remarkably, in a room where millions of high-value packages are handled, there are no security cameras.
Now let's talk about this. Number one, it's made its way from LA to New York. Okay? So it made its way across the country. Then they find it on Monday, but it's not in its original packaging. And it's on the ground somewhere, and there's no video evidence of what may or may not have happened to this package and why. Seems suspect.
They told us. UPS says the employee who found our flash drive simply dropped it on top of a supervisor's desk. Our documents sat there undiscovered for more than 24 hours until we announced on television that they were missing. That's their story. Obviously, we had some questions about it, but UPS executives did not answer our questions. Quote, there are no more details. Security is returning it. Apologies again that we were unable to deliver it next day at the service level you requested. Our exchanges went on like this for hours. And the main question we had never changed. How did our flash drive get separated from the package that we sent it in? That seemed like something worth knowing.
Yeah, it seems like the big question. How in the hell was my package opened, the documents lost, and then magically found, but not with the package itself, after I went public on TV and was accused by many of fake news on a fake story about fake documents?
The envelope was securely sealed. We know that. 2 witnesses saw our producer seal it, and UPS does not dispute that. Was the package torn open accidentally by a machine? That seems unlikely. UPS says that almost never happens. So we're left with the obvious explanation. Someone, for some reason, opened our package and removed a flash drive containing documents that were damaging to the Biden family. We'd love to know who would do that and why. It would be helpful to see the envelope itself, but UPS says we can't see it because they threw it away. So here we are. We got our flash drive back today, and that's great. But what we'd really like are some answers. And speaking of answers, it occurs as reading this that we mentioned the documents that we get from a lot of people. And we've received an awful lot of documents recently about Hunter Biden. We haven't aired all of them. In fact, many we have not aired. The ones that are pertinent to his business career abroad, favors he did on behalf of foreign clients with the help of his father, that seems relevant.
So here Tucker's going to get into the guy's personal life because apparently he knew Hunter Biden, knew his wife, the whole nine. And I just want to point this out, that so far, what I've seen come out of supposed right-wing media, whether it be people like Bannon, people like Tucker, okay, in large part, even the Gateway Pundit, in large part has been accurate and has not been challenged. All right, now we could talk about, the other stuff. We could talk about the Chinese dissident. We have. Some of that seemed possibly rife with disinformation, right? The CP and torture porn of people other than this 14-year-old girl who may be the subject of incest. Let's just be honest about it, right? So there may be that kind of disinformation. But Tucker himself talks about how he's not going for the jugular, yet we're going to show you how the mainstream media is going for the jugular by just making stuff up and drawing attention, okay, to obviously false information that nobody covered. And notice he talked about other documents and not airing them. I would think other than the stuff that he's going to talk about in the personal life, it would also be stuff that he believes to be fraudulent.
And it seems like news, and we brought it to you, and we're not ashamed of that. But there are a lot of documents about Hunter Biden's personal life that we haven't brought to you, and we're not going to, and we should tell you why. One is the obvious answer. He's not running for president. And so to the extent those documents pertain to his dad, of course. But Hunter Biden is a fallen man at this point. And I should also say that I knew Hunter Biden fairly well. We lived near each other in Washington for quite some time. I knew his wife, who was an absolutely outstanding person, a good person. I never thought Hunter Biden was a bad person. I thought he had demons, but in the time I knew him, he kept them mostly under control. At some point, he lost control of those demons, and the world knows that now. He's now humiliated and alone. It's probably too strong to say we feel sorry for Hunter Biden, but the point is, pounding on a man, jumping on, piling on, when he's already down is something that we don't want to be involved in.
See, I'm not trying to pile on anybody. My whole thing is that, number one, he's talking about inappropriate relationships with children who are in his family with his father who would have covered that up. That, to me, is relevant. Again, can you imagine personal text between Eric or Don Jr. with Don about possible pedophilia, incest within the family? Oh, my God. It'd be headlines everywhere, and it should be. So, guys, as you know, we do it live and free here at the Rockfin, if you're watching this live and free, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. I want to thank everybody that joined us today. We're trying to make it a little bit longer. I got some interviews maybe in the works next week. We're going to see if we're, what's going on post-election. Hopefully we're still going to be on YouTube. We'll see. I mean, anything could happen. Anything could happen. I'm potentially maybe sort of kind of harmful content. We've been demonetized 6+ months over there. Okay, we're concentrating on alternative platforms because they don't want us there, but we're going to persist. We're going to say we've been there for 13 years. We're still about free speech. We're not harmful content. Believe it or not. So $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. Big donors, I need you now more than ever. Please check that out over there. Check out all the documentary films. They're in the playlist section over on YouTube, so join the Burmese Brigade if you haven't. 58,000 plus subscribers. And remember, get that free subscription to Rockfin at the very least. And you can also support me by going premium, and then you literally have a Netflix at your disposal for independent content creators, everybody and their premium content that, is now being censored more heavily than ever via the mainstream platforms. Guys, I love you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the flip side.